down. My friends are sitting laughing, but I just keep on laughing. They're knocking on my door, but I'm knocking them down. They say I'm acting crazy, but I just wanna lie in the sun.
So we are here at Seminole State Park this weekend, which is on Lake Seminole, which is kind of close to Bainbridge, Georgia, Donaldsonville, Georgia. And I just want to take you around, show you a little bit of the campground and what our campsite looks like. So this is probably the smallest campground we have been to thus far on Pop-Up Life. There's not a ton of campsites in here. It's pretty small. It's probably, I don't know, 20 or so hookup sites, and there's some primitive camping sites as well. But it's really, really nice, really well maintained. I really like it. And this is our spot right here, right on the water. So not all the spots are right on the water, some are kind of off, but all of them are in walking distance of the water there. So this is part of Lake Seminole here, and this is a famous duck hunting destination. We've seen a lot of duck hunters up the road coming in and out. A lot of people travel here to hunt ducks this time of year in the winter. Really nice, really clean campsites. I like being right on the water there. If you came here during the warmer months, you're probably getting the water and play there a little bit. It's pretty clear, pretty nice. This is our site right here. We got plenty of room. Haven't put the awning up because haven't really needed it. I did try to put it up when I was setting up the camper yesterday, and only thing about this place, the wind blows off that water pretty good, and that awning blew it over the top of the camper, so decided to leave the awning up. It's not really sunny out here. It's pretty chilly. Don't really need it. This is our site here, kind of a little raised surface there. Got our pop-up set up, got our dishwashing sink over there, and you're right here close to the water. Got a nice little fire pit here. Ty-Ty's boots got wet earlier, so trying to dry those off. Like I said, just a little short little walk down there, and you go find all kind of shells and neat little stuff down there. A boat ramp right over there where you can put in, you can rent a kayak and stuff. And I don't know if you can see way over there, maybe if we focus in, there's some cabins way over there that look pretty daggum nice. So a smaller state park for sure, but one of the nicer, more well-maintained ones we've been to. Check out our new flag Brooklyn got us here for our camping excursions. We can put this up so everybody can find out who we are and look us up on YouTube there if they want to. A good many of the sites are pull through, like this big one right here, that one there, that's a pull through. Ours is a back end, as you see there with a pop-up. That's not a huge deal, but if you got a bigger camper, plenty of pull through sites here, right on the water even. And then some of the sites, like this one right here, has a little boardwalk down to where your fire building sitting area would be. So that's kind of nice as well, nice little touch. So as far as coming here not in the winter months, there's a decent amount of shade. It's not super shaded, so could be pretty warm here in the warmer months in the pop-up, but I think if you got a spot underneath one of these big pine trees here, you'd be just fine. Now there are signs up here that says beware of the gators, so you wouldn't want to get out there too far, but if it was warm, I don't see why myself and the kids couldn't get out there and play on that sand right there. Good little time. Here's our shell collection we've got going so far, about 12 or 13 of them there, and they're empty, no critters inside of them. I think the birds kind of eat the critters out of them, and the shells will kind of wash up on the water over there. You'll find them right on the edge or maybe a little bit in the water, but we're gonna wash these off, take these home. I think the kids can do some neat little crafts with these and paint them and stuff. So nice little find on this camping trip. So when we first started this Pop-Up Life channel, we were doing a lot of our cooking on the Blackstone, which we still do, but I have a little mini Weber grill. We were doing a lot of our cooking on there, and we had a lot of viewers comment and say, man, you should really try cooking over the fire. Once you go to that, you really won't want to go back. And man, they are right. I have really taken a liking to this campfire cooking over the fire. And we did the zipper peas in our new Dutch oven last night, and today we're gonna make some beef stew. And I'm really excited about this. So we got our Dutch oven there. I've got some beef stew meat here in a bag. It was already cut up. I put some seasoning on it. I put some flour on it. This is something my mom does, and works pretty well. The flour helps it brown up good, and also helps kind of thicken that beef stew up. I like mine almost like a gravy consistency with the liquid there, so that should help that. So we got that. We've got some carrots here from my garden, some nice little purple and yellow carrots there. I'm gonna throw those in there. Got some potatoes we're gonna cut up, put in there, and I like some mushrooms in mine. I know that's not necessarily a conventional way to do beef stew. We're gonna put some mushrooms in there as well. So we're gonna get our Dutch oven on the heat, on the coals, and put some oil in there, and we're gonna kind of sear or brown this meat. Then we're gonna add some seasonings and some liquid in there, and then add the vegetables, and hopefully just let this thing kind of slow roll for about 3 hours or so. It should be a nice little dinner tonight. Now there's certainly a bit of a learning curve with this direct fire cooking, and I'm trying to get the hang of it. Now last night with those zipper peas, I tried starting off to get me a good fire going underneath that rack and sit it on that rack, but they never really got to boiling. They might have eventually, but it was going to take a while. And so we ended up just sitting them right on the coals there, making this little bed and sitting them on there. And then that is super hot, and they got boiling pretty quick. So you have to be careful with your heat a little bit. I don't know. With browning this meat, I don't know if I want it super hot. I want it hot, but I don't know if I want it as hot as some peas were boiling last night. So we may just make us a little bed of coals. Just try to get our heat hot, but not where it's going to burn that flour. And then hopefully we can get it simmering a little bit and keep the heat underneath there, put it on that rack, and let it do a slow roll right there. We'll just have to see. Like I said, this is a bit of a learning curve, but it's been a fun little learning curve. Meat's cooking up pretty good there. Getting a nice little brown on it. I ain't got to worry about cooking it all the way through. We just want to get a little crust on it to give you an idea how many coals I got. Not a huge bed, just enough there to get that grease good and hot. Probably got a little too much meat for this particular size Dutch oven, but we're gonna make it work. Alright, our meat looks pretty good and brown at this point, good enough. So I'm gonna come in with some seasoning mix. I got a couple packets of this stuff right here, works pretty good. And I got it mixed up in some water here. I'm just gonna pour that in there. You might need to add a little more water to it. Looking pretty good. Alright, now gotta let that sit right there, and then we're gonna go get our veggies and start putting those in there. Come in here with the carrots first. I can't have too many carrots in beef stew. Alright, let's check on her and stir her up a minute here. One end's getting a little warmer than the other. Pretty good though. Go ahead and get our taters in here. Probably gonna have to add some water, I can tell already. But that's the thickness of the liquid there is about just like I like it. We'll see. We can always add some flour and water later on. It's not quite as thick as we want it. Might have to keep adding a little bit here and there as some of it escapes. Hope watch this all thicken up good for me over time, over a few hours. Come in here with our mushrooms as the final ingredient. Add a little flavor there. Get all that in there. I believe that's all we can fit in that Dutch oven right there. Ain't quite sure what the size of this one is, but that's all it's going to hold today, which will be more than enough for us to eat tonight and have leftovers. So we're going to put the top back on it and just let this thing slow roll. We'll check on it periodically and let you know how it's doing. Alright, so our beef stew's been rolling about an hour and a half now. Let's check on it, see how it's doing. Oh yeah, there we go. Nice little slow simmer there. Ain't gonna be long before it's ready, but still got a few hours before supper time. Probably just kind of take it off the heat a little bit and just kind of let it simmer. But good consistency right there with our liquid. Just want to let that beef kind of simmer in there and get nice and tender. We kind of do this backwards the way this thing I think was designed, or what it was designed for. So I keep my fire in there and then I take my little shovel and pull me out a few coals and just keep it hot underneath the pan there instead of doing the fire here and putting it over there. Found out that works a little better. So I just steal me some coals from my main fire there, put them underneath here and keep this nice and warm. And I don't want it on a raging boil, just kind of slowly bubbling like that right there.
My friends are sitting laughing, but I just keep on loving. They're knocking on my door, but I'm knocking them down. They say I'm acting crazy, but I just wanna lie in the sun. Whoa, I just wanna lie in the sun. Yeah, lie in the sun.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Pop-Up Life. We're here to do our official review of Seminole State Park.
Yep.
At Lake Seminole. We didn't shoot this there because
it was freezing.
It was freezing. It was so cold. The camera, we tried to shoot our view there.
It did keep
and
freezing.
The camera kept like the screen would just freeze on it because it was so
cold.
daggum cold. And
cold.
the wind was coming right off that lake right there
Yes.
in our campsite, which made it even more colder. Even our trips to the mountains, I believe that's the coldest we've been.
Yep.
Most time we've spent inside the camper.
Yeah.
Because man, it was just freezing.
I couldn't even barely like tiptoe out. I was like running back into the cave. It was so cold.
Yeah.
It's kind of cold right now too.
Yeah,
but
it was almost too cold. It was too cold to sit outside by the fire.
Yeah.
Just coming off that lake. Anyway, we want to talk about the campground, what we thought of it, pluses and minuses, and of course give it our official rating. So this was the smallest state park we've ever been to. I don't know if it's the smallest in Georgia, but it's a pretty small, quaint little state park.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's small as an acreage size, because if you look at it on the website, like when it compares all the state parks, it has a lot of acreage. Just
The campground itself is pretty
campground
small.
was small.
I would compare it to Reed Bingham, which we haven't did it. We've been there one time.
I think Reed Bingham is bigger, much bigger.
Yeah, but it's a little smaller. It's smaller than Reed Bingham.
Yeah.
As far as the campground goes, but a nice campground, a very well maintained campground, nice campsites.
Nice that it was on the water. I think it would be great in the spring. March, April, you can fish right there off the bank. Your kids could play right there. It was really clear.
Right, really good clear water right there. Grass. It was nice to have grass there. That keeps the camper nice and clean as opposed to sand or
bigger campsites.
something else. Definitely bigger campsites. I don't remember how many campsites there were. Maybe 30 or 40 at the most.
Yeah, they were all pretty. The ones on the water were not very shaded, but the ones off of the water were shaded.
Yeah.
So it would have been nice.
And some of the spots, like where we was just catching direct brunt of the wind there. But some of the spots you wouldn't catch the wind too much. It's kind of a catch-22. You're right on the water with a beautiful view, but that wind's just getting you, or you're not right on the water, but you're not getting the wind.
Right. And the view was beautiful.
Absolutely
So
beautiful
pretty.
view. There was only one bathroom on site, but it was really nice and clean. And given that it was a small campground, one bathhouse was sufficient. There was never an issue where we had to wait on it that I remember.
Yeah, and there was no location there, like no campsite where you weren't close. It was
Right.
like centrally located. It was about the same distance, everywhere you were.
Yeah.
So that was good.
The camp host was really nice. Another nice thing about it is right there by where the camp host was, they had just this little building there that had ice and firewood. So you didn't have to
Right.
drive all the way back to the front of the park where the office was if you needed extra ice or firewood. And that was a cash only deal with this little building. You had to pay the host there, but it was nice. You didn't have to go all the way back. If you needed something in a pinch, you could get it right there.
Right, and I think we may mention this before, but there are cabins on site that were nice and large. They look really nice from the outside when we looked in the window. They're a little dated, but still very clean.
Yeah, roomy cabins.
Roomy, yeah, would be.
We saw groups of fishermen, 4 or 5 guys staying in one cabin there.
You would not call it a 5-star hotel accommodation.
No, we're probably on the nicer end of what you see as far as state park cabins go.
Right. Maybe not compared to Vogel, because those are all new.
Yeah. So the place itself, Seminole State Park, is amongst this kind of winding lake called Lake Seminole, and there's not really anything to do there.
Nothing.
There's a dollar store at the road.
Nothing.
You can ride around, see the boats coming in, but
That's not
this is
great.
definitely a campground you're going to go to, and you're just going to enjoy camping. You enjoy
Right.
playing outside, that kind of thing. You're not going to really go sightseeing. No extra activities except just camping and hanging out and cooking, which we enjoyed, cooking over the fire and stuff like that. But the cold kind of did put a hamper on our activities a little bit.
Probably should check the weather before we went. And I don't even think it was the weather. Like we've already said a million times before, it was just how much wind we were catching off that lake that made it so much colder. There are playgrounds there. There was a little beach area as well.
A lot more to do if it would have been warmer, not so chappy.
Right.
So yeah, we probably would have a little different outlook on it had I think the weather might have affected our experience a little bit more. But it is close. I mean, we can get there in an hour, 15 minutes, hour and a half from here. So close state park. I know we try not to factor that into the ratings, but that is something to consider for us. I don't know that it's a state park we would drive 3 to 4 hours to go to.
Yeah. I agree.
But the fact that it was close, it was nice and handy, and good one to mark off the list, and a good one to recommend if you're in that area or just.
And you like to fish.
Yeah.
I think that it would be great if you like to fish. The trails, like I mentioned before, had been closed down, so it was sort of like you just got to walk along the paved path. So that wasn't my favorite. I wouldn't say like we really like going on nature hikes, and so that just felt like I was walking on the road.
Right.
I'm being a little nitpicky. It's just compared to the other state parks, but that's not any fault of their own. That's just hurricanes and just not having the availability to just pop back up from that yet.
That's
you know.
right.
So I
That's
think
right.
in the future that will definitely be different. And I think in the past that's been different. So are you ready to give it the review, the number?
Yeah. I'm thinking a 7.2 on this one.
Okay, I agree with that number, and I feel bad. I feel like we're being like, it's not
No, we're
that.
not
There was
trying to
just
throw shade at it.
nothing to do. There was nowhere to eat, nowhere to really go to a grocery store. There was a gas station, and that was the closest thing for 20 miles. So that's just difficult. I think when you have small kids and you've already walked that trail. We didn't bring our fishing poles, so now it's like, what do? You know?
Maybe had the weather been better and we were
Yeah.
able to do more things, we would feel a little bit different about
Right.
it. But
I agree.
it's not a great one to go to if you've got bad weather. It is a beautiful place. I would highly recommend it. Definitely not something I would definitely recommend going there,
Yeah.
give it a shot. Not trying to throw any shade on the place, but for us, comparatively
To what
all
else
these-
we've been to.
all these rankings are kind of relative
Right.
to the other ones we go to. I would give it a good 7.2, which is still a good ranking. Not a stinker by any means.
Right. I agree. We've just been to better ones.
Right. But I still prefer a good state park like that over
yeah.
privately owned campground
For sure.
any day of the week.
I agree about that. So we got some other great places that we are going coming up.
Yep.
Which we've talked about before, and we're about to start booking some more trips.
That's right.
Some in North Georgia, some not. We're trying to explore some areas that we haven't been to before and haven't checked out, and
Trying to squeeze some trips in before it gets too hot.
right, because I think once it gets too hot, it's just gonna be. We may try it though. We may try a summer camping trip, and we might leave and come home early.
Yeah.
Who knows?
We got a fan. We got a fan, and
Don't matter.
we haven't tried camping in the heat with our new Reflectex panels
In the shade.
In the shade.
That's it. I think we got stung real bad one time in this world's sunniest spot, and we set up in the hottest time of the day and literally couldn't get any relief. I was
Yeah.
ready to come home.
Yeah, and now we've just started booking stuff a couple months ahead of time so we can get a better pick of the spots. And the great thing about the state parks, you can just go on their website. The Georgia State Parks, it may be like this with other states, but you go on there and you just book you a bunch of trips, and if it comes up where, it's raining or can't go, you get a full refund the day before. So
Yeah.
it's nice to just go ahead and reserve you some spots before they get booked up, and you got your kind of pick of the litter there that works well. So yeah, we're going to be traveling all around trying to hit more of these state parks. We got a few private campgrounds we want to try, but most of our travels are going to be in state parks. We're going to try FDR later this year, which is the biggest one in Georgia. So excited about that. Do you want to tell them about your Instagram account?
Oh yeah, we have an Instagram now. It's called Pop-Up Life. I have thrown on their stuff about our renovations, just little tiny clips of like, here's what we do. It's just easier. I mean, shorter clips than our YouTube. I like doing it. It's usually silly stuff with me and the kids, so that's been fun for me.
So make sure to go check out Pop-Up Life on Instagram.
Yep.
Hope everybody enjoyed this review. If you did, give us a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Ring the bell so you get notified every time we come out with a new video. We'll see you guys on the next camping trip.
Bye.
They say I'm acting crazy, but I just wanna lie in the sun.